Alright, what's going on? When it's SpearTTRP here. So today I'm gonna be giving a mini review of Insurgency. Now I'm probably a bit late to the mix for that because there's been several of those already. And furthermore, I don't normally really do these voiceovers. Most of my stuff is live, but yeah, Insurgency is a modern military shooter. And these days that does not really say all that much anymore, because most of the shooters are modern military shooters. So what is it? It's essentially a mix between Counter-Strike and Arma. That's the best summary I've been able to come up with. So this means it's any source engine and you die very quickly. On most servers, friendly fire is also on, and people don't seem to be awfully great at differentiating friend and foe. So just beware of that. But yeah, it's on the source engine, which means the gameplay is very smooth. And if you have a decent PC, you're going to be running above 100 FPS most of the time, which is pretty much 3 times as much as you get in Arma generally. Being on the source engine means that the visuals are good. They're not amazing, but they're not bad by any stretch of the imagination. This game does have some nice particle effects, especially if you're getting shot at. You are suppressed particle effects all around you. Although I do have to say that the sound design is really good. The guns sound beefy, bullet impacts sound really well done, and there is sonic cracking like in Arma, meaning that if a bullet is whizzing above your head, you can actually hear a mini sonic boom / crack. You have that in very few games. The only other game besides this I can think of is Arma, which I already mentioned. You don't have it in Battlefield, and you sure as hell don't have it in Call of Duty. But yeah, being a hardcore shooter, it has a very limited HUD. Pretty much the only thing you can see is your information about your objectives and your magazine count. Other than that, you do not have a kill feed. The only way to see whether or not you actually kill somebody is to go up to them and see whether or not they're actually dead. You could check the scoreboard, although I think recently they've actually patched that, so when you're actually alive in-game, you can't see your KD ratio / kills. So when you're firing at somebody, you definitely have to make sure you're hitting accurately, because again, there is no pop-up to see whether or not you killed somebody. Also, it does not have a crosshair, and hipfire is pretty inaccurate, so my tip would be to ADS in pretty much every case, unless you see somebody really close by. Now with all this, it can actually be pretty difficult to determine where your team is, so actually a little tip is to rebind a key. I think it's called Tactical Map. Rebind that to a mouse key. It's like an overhead map you can use. I do not think many people know that, because I have not really seen it in any videos I've seen. But yeah, the game itself, it's got 7 game modes and 7 maps. And all of it is insurgents versus security forces. So it's gonna be ARs versus AKs, pretty much. Now you join either one of these teams and you can join one of these squads. You normally have A and B. Now both squads are pretty much identical, except in your own team scoreboard you get a different color. Now in one of these squads you can join a role, and the difference between roles is pretty intuitive. They have names. So say you join a sniper role, you have access to sniper rifles. So yeah, these different roles have different access to weapons and equipment, and within that role you get to modify your kit. You get 10 points for that. So you can pick your own weapon, you can customize that, you can decide whether or not you want body armor, grenades, a secondary weapon, like a nice Makarov pistol. Whether or not you want an RPG, C4, again that is determined by your role, whether or not you have access to, say, C4. So if you're a sniper, you do not have access to C4, but you have access to a sniper rifle. But if you're a bomber, you have access to C4. Then depending on what map / game mode you're playing, you probably want to pick your roles that way. So there's this map called Heights. You'd probably be better off using a sniper rifle there instead of one of the more confined close quarter maps. All that will come from experience. But yeah, once you've spent your points, you gotta be careful because all the items you select, they have a certain amount of weight to them. So if you take a really heavy weapon, body armor, extra ammo, you're gonna be a bit slower because you weigh more. Then game modes, there is basic training to start off. You should probably do that if you're new to the game. Although this explains the very basics of the game. Then again, there is also a practice mode, which is actually like the multiplayer but with AI. Now in these 7 total game modes, there's one co-op game mode, which is called Checkpoints. This is basically just going from checkpoint to checkpoint with 6 to 8 people and shooting a bunch of AI. From my experience, I played as ones. They're not awfully intelligent, but it's a good training for your gun skills / getting to know the map. Then the 6 other game modes, which are the actual multiplayer game modes, they're divided into 2 categories: Tactical Operations and Sustained Combat. The names already pretty much tell you what they are. In Tactical Operations, there's 3 game modes in this. They're objective game modes, meaning that you pretty much only have 1 life and you respawn after a new objective has been taken. Now the 3 game modes are Firefight, Search and Destroy, and VIP Escort. Firefight is pretty much a combination between elimination and domination from other games. Search and Destroy and VIP Escort, you can probably figure out what those mean. Then you have 3 game modes in Sustained Combat. These are wave game modes, meaning that you don't have to wait as long to respawn. Now the 3 game modes in this are Push, Skirmish, and Strike. I have to admit, I've not really played these. I prefer the objective game modes. And most of the servers I've run into seem to alternate between the tactical operation game modes. Now that's a brief explanation of what the game is pretty much about. There is voice chat in the game, although I've not really seen awfully many people use this. This game is definitely better if you play it with people you know and use, say, Mumble or TeamSpeak. Now for the big question, should you buy it? Now for me, and that's Western Europe, it's only $13.99 on Steam. Additionally, you can buy it in a 4-pack for €41.99, or your regional equivalent. So yeah, should you buy it? I'd say yes. If you're interested in this point, you probably want to try it out. I mean, for me, $13.99 is not awfully expensive. And if you're a fan of Arma or Counter-Strike, it's probably something interesting to try out. Now with all this said, I'm definitely not an expert at this game. I've played it for several hours. If you have like an hour free, it's definitely a fun thing to do. Although again, you die very quickly, so you definitely have to be careful. It's definitely not Call of Duty. So yeah, that was my mini review. Again, I don't really do these voiceovers awfully much, so it might just be really terrible, I don't know. I will let the gameplay finish. This is a montage of pretty much all my kills. This should not give you the impression that this is like continuous, because I pretty much edited it out every time I died, which is a lot actually. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider leaving a like, and have a good day.
Just secured Charlie. Lost Charlie. Hey, where the hell are you going? Get back here! Fight's not over there, man. Turn around and come back.
Fragmentation coming up!
Oh, fuck, they got Bravo.
Hey, new bag in! Cover me! Reloading!